Africa Reborn International is basically promoting Africa. Africa is not poor. Africa is not a war-ravaged continent. Africa is rich. But unfortunately, Africa has not been able to attain its potentials in the Committee of Continents. So which is why I decided to pioneer the Africa Reborn International, whereby we're going to engage African professionals in diaspora in the field of science and technology and the field of African traditional science. The bone of contention is building a stronger Africa, sitting down together with the professionals and looking for a way to build Africa's science and technology industry, and to inculcate African science and technology with African traditional science, because the world doesn't know much about the African traditional science. And it's like the Western culture, the Western way of life is being adopted in Africa, and Africans are now forgetting about their own tradition. They're forgetting about their own history. So Africa Reborn International wants to bring together all African nations, African leaders, all together on a round table so we can discuss. We can forge a way by which Africa can meet the standards of all other continents. For example, Asia. You got China, you got Japan, you got South Korea. You got Taiwan, you got Hong Kong. These places are not classified as a third world. Why? Because they came together and they decided to develop their continent. Africa is developing, yes, but at a slow rate. But with Africa Reborn International broadcasting the need for Africa to wake up and build itself, because if our generation doesn't build Africa, I'm sorry, who's going to build Africa? African Union is doing their best. The African leaders, I commend them for that. They are doing their best, but unfortunately, their best is not enough, which is why Africa Reborn International wants to pioneer the amalgamation, the unity of Africans worldwide, African professionals worldwide. We have to come down together, sit down together, and map out a strategy of building Africa. We need made in African products for Africa. This is what we need in Africa so Africa can grow. We don't have to be reliant on our mineral resources alone. Country like South Korea doesn't have any mineral resources, but look at South Korea. South Korea is a first world economy, and it's a manufacturing giant. So Africa can do better. Africa is the future. Africa is rich. And that is why we've got Africa Reborn International. Thank you.
So this basically is our traditional dress. We've got the smock. My mom's also wearing a traditional dress here for women. Obviously, my uncles all are wearing the smocks, which just is a traditional thing that we all have as Ghanaians. Pretty much, instead of suits like, in conferences and, professional jobs, we like to embrace our culture and wear what we have started with. As our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, wore a smock when he was announcing the independence for our country. So we here like to wear our own smock as well to show and symbolize the meaning of independence in Ghana for the country and for all of us people here.
Violence doesn't bring anything good. It is our time we all team up together as one and stop fighting and stop discriminating people because you are this or because you are from this tribe. We need to team up together as one to be able to move forward, because violence will never take us forward. We need to make peace. We need to look at our brothers and be our brother's keeper and be one, because that is the only way we can move forward if we all team up together as one and stop hating.
Well, I'm a registered native title claimant, and I speak on behalf of a group which I call my own group, the Millers and that there, but I also speak on behalf of a lot of other Noongars who, as well. I speak on behalf of a lot of them because this is our country and we are the custodians of the land. And as far as that goes, we'll always remain the custodians, and being the custodians, we can't sell the land. We can never sell the land, but we could lease it, because the custodian's not meant to sell the land. It's as simple as that. And all Aborigines across Australia, they are the local custodians, whether they believe it or not. And it's time that the government woke up and had a look at who are the traditional owners of the country, and by doing so, and what I'm saying is, we don't want what the white man actually reckon belongs to him. We only want back what has always and will always be rightfully ours. And there's no point, and there's nothing wrong in saying that either.
You know, once it's lost, it's lost. It's really that holistic approach of healing and bringing people back to a healthy place in their mind. We're finding with working with some of our traumatised children in care, again the example of Indigenous children, and we're linking them back to culture, we're linking them back to language, we're linking them back to country, and I see that there would be no difference with our African community. So, you know, young people do want to have a Western life, but we also should not forget our roots, our background, you know, so that heritage that's rich, are able to acknowledge and know where you've come from and what your background, what your culture is, what your language is, what your music is. You know, that makes a huge difference. And I do know that parents have a fear that their children are going to lose that over time.
The same thing that has happened to them has happened to us. We're still fighting to get our country back and trying to get recognition, not only here in Perth, but in the whole of Australia. For long, long times now, we've been denied that right. The same with these people over in these other countries. And what's it all about, really, is the greed for need. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions and millions of dollars really help out in our own country in some way, but at the present time, with all the wars and that's going on, we should use whatever needs we have to help them.